We have disparities around education. We have disparities around income. And we have to recognize that everybody did not start out on an equal footing.
Wait, what?
And in particular, Black people have not. We focus on the specific issues that have resulted in the greatest disparities. Listen, the reality also is this. Any policy that will benefit Black people will benefit all of society. Let's be clear about that. Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No.
So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No.
Kamala Harris's polarizing record as a prosecutor is not only terrifying, but the things that she has done in the past have set Black people back further than Trump could ever do. You see, Democrats love to talk about systemic racism and how it's such a problem, yet they always fail to point out that the systematic racism that they claim is embedded everywhere came from them. We know that the Democrats are responsible for the creation of the Ku Klux Klan.
The Republican Party in Texas was started on the 4th of July, 1867 in Houston, Texas by 150 blacks and 20 whites. It was that way across the South. The Republican parties were started in the South by African Americans. In the state of Texas, 2 of our first 3 statewide Republican chairmen were African American. The first 42 black legislators elected in Texas were all Republican. The first 112 black legislators elected in Mississippi were all Republican. The first 190 black legislators elected in South Carolina were all Republican. 1866, Democrats themselves started the Ku Klux Klan. Its purpose was not to kill blacks. Its purpose was to take control and return Democrats to power. Their stated purpose in the KKK was to stop Republicans and restore Democratic control. Now, if you're looking for a Republican that you want to take care of, you can wipe out any black you want because they're 100% Republicans at that point in time. You can't wipe out any white. I mean, some whites might be Democrats. You got to be a little more judicious when you're wiping out whites. So what happens is the Ku Klux Klan starts attacking, not blacks, Republican conventions. For example, in New Orleans, in the Republican convention in Louisiana, the Klan joined with the New Orleans police, joined with the New Orleans mayor, Democrats. They attacked physically at the convention in New Orleans, Republican convention. They killed 40 blacks, killed 20 whites, they wounded 150 others. In 1868, they put out a push card in South Carolina, and it listed what they call the radical members of the South Carolina legislature. That push card's about the size of a baseball card. It was put up by the Klan. Klan put it out. It had the pictures of 63 legislators that needed to be wiped out in South Carolina. 50 of those legislators were black, 13 were white. Now, they were all 63 Republican. On the back of the card, it gave you the name of each legislator so you'd know who you're trying to kill. Congress starts these hearings in this group called the Klan. And they have hearings, and so they bring in Democrat leaders that under oath from these Democrat states said, yes, the Klan belongs to our party. It's actually in Congress. 1872, the hearings, it's a 13-volume set of hearings in Congress. Unequivocally, Democrats say the Klan is ours and belongs to us. It's there to restore Democrat control in the southern states.
And we know that the crime bill that locked up 600,000 black people for nonviolent offenses also came from Joe Biden and the Democratic Party.
The truth is, every major crime bill since 1976 that's come out of this Congress, every minor crime bill has had the name of the Democratic senator from the state of Delaware, Joe Biden, on that bill, and has had a majority vote of the Democratic members of the United States Senate on the bill.
In fact, I don't think it would be a stretch if I said that Kamala Harris and Joe Biden are solely responsible for the systematic racism and oppression that we see in our laws today.
Another thing about how perspectives change over time. Bobby Rush, member of Congress, said the other day, I'm ashamed that I voted for the 94 crime bill. You ashamed of that bill?
Not at all. And in fact, I drafted the bill, as you remember.
I know that.
Donald Trump didn't pass any laws to lock black people up. Donald Trump didn't hide evidence to keep black people in jail for cheap labor. But Joe Biden and Kamala Harris did. Now, for the sake of brevity today, and in the interest of being fair, let's examine all of the things that Kamala Harris has done for the black community. Now let's start with her blatant lies on The Breakfast Club, where she tried to appeal to the black community by stating that she smoked weed to Tupac and Snoop Dogg while she was in college.
So there are a lot of reasons why we need to legalize.
Have you ever smoked?
I have.
Okay. Like in
And
college,
I inhaled. I did inhale.
Okay.
It was a long time ago. But yes.
I know you have to go. They say you have to go. I just wanted to
I
ask.
just broke loose.
I mean, was it in college?
Uh-huh.
See, I like stuff like that. That's a real honest
It's
answer.
real.
Was it a blunt or joint?
It was a joint.
Hey.
Yeah.
You remember the high?
I do.
What does Kamala Harris listen to?
What were you
What's your
listening to when
favorite-
you was high? What was on? What song was it?
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, definitely Snoop. Tupac for
Tupac.
sure. For sure.
Pause. Now that's a lie. In case you're not aware, Kamala Harris graduated Harvard University in 1986, and Tupac's debut CD didn't come out until 1991. In regards to Snoop Dogg, his first album came out in 1993. So what the hell is she talking about? Did you guys just catch that? In case that just went over your head, let me reiterate. Tupac's CD and Snoop Dogg's first CD did not come out until 1991 and 1993. So it was physically impossible for Kamala Harris to be listening to both of those CDs in college and to be smoking weed during that time like she alleged. Now, do you know why she told you guys that lie? She told you that lie so that way the black community could eat this up and agree with her. She was hoping to seem like a down-to-earth black chick who smoked weed and listened to hip-hop music so that way she could garner the black vote. This is no different than what Barack Hussein Obama did a couple years back with the black community.
I made bad choices. I got high without always thinking about the harm that it could do. I got high without always thinking about the harm that it could do. I got high without always thinking about the harm that it could do.
These Democratic demons always try to infiltrate the black community by trying to come off as one of us, when in reality, they are so far from us, it's not even humanly funny. And now that I'm on the topic of the Democrats trying to fit in, let's take a look at Joe Biden and what he had to say about Robert Byrd during his passing. And in case you're not aware, Robert Byrd was a senator and he was also part of the Ku Klux Klan.
To me, and many people here today, like guys I see, Bill Bradley and Jim Sasser, who've long left the Senate for greener pastures, and I hope better remuneration. We used to kid about that too, but for a lot of us, he was a friend, and he was a mentor, and he was a guide. He was a friend, and he was a mentor, and he was a guide. He was a friend, and he was a mentor, and he was a guide. He was a friend, and he was a mentor, and he was a guide.
Pause. Did you guys just all hear that? Joe Biden went on national TV and said that Robert Byrd, an ex-Ku Klux Klan member, is a mentor and a friend. Now I have a serious question for you and everybody at home. How could Robert Byrd, somebody who represented hate and tried to do everything in their power to destroy black people, be your mentor and friend? And for the sake of conversation today, I want to read a quote that Robert Byrd said before he passed. Begin quote. "I shall never fight in the armed forces with a Negro by my side. Rather, I should die 1,000 times and see Old Glory trampled in the dirt, never to rise again, than to see this beloved land of ours become degraded by a race of mongrels, a throwback to the blackest specimen from the wilds." You heard it with your own ears today. This is what the Senator Robert Byrd, who was also either a Ku Klux Klan member or a Grand Wizard, said about black people. And you got Joe Biden's ass and Hillary Clinton, both Democrats for the record, on here today talking about that this guy was a mentor and a friend. And you stupid motherfuckers are out here voting for them. Y'all out here voting for them. And I'm consecutively showing you that these Democrats are doing everything in their power to ruin your life. But I digress. Let's get back to Kamala Harris. So right here, we already have a tangible example of Kamala Harris telling a lie. She's not even in office, and already she's telling lies. But don't worry, it gets much worse. This article is from the Washington Post, and it's appropriately titled, Crime Lab Scandal Rocked Kamala Harris's Term as San Francisco District Attorney. Begin quote. San Francisco, Kamala D. Harris was the city's top prosecutor running to become California's elected attorney general when a scandal stunned her office and threatened to upend her campaign. One of Harris's top deputies had emailed a colleague that a crime lab technician had become increasingly undependable for testimony. Weeks later, the technician allegedly took home cocaine from the lab, possibly tainting evidence and raising concerns about hundreds of cases. Neither Harris nor the prosecutors working for her had informed defense attorneys of the problems despite rules requiring such disclosure. Harris failed to disclose information that clearly should have been disclosed, Superior Court Judge Anne Christine Masulo wrote in scathing decisions in May 2010. Harris's opponent in the Democratic primary for Attorney General, former Facebook General Counsel Chris Kelly, said at the time that the ruling showed Harris had systematically violated defendants' civil and constitutional rights because her office hid damaging information about a police drug lab technician and was indifferent to demands that it accounts for its failings. Kelly declined to comment. So as you all just heard, Kamala Harris systematically violated individuals' civil and constitutional rights by hiding evidence. And in case, again, that this just went over your head, allow me to reiterate. One of Harris's deputies let a colleague know that a technician who was working for her took cocaine home from a lab illegally and tainted the evidence for hundreds of cases. So a lab technician took cocaine home and altered the cocaine in evidence. And this was reported to Kamala Harris. And instead of cracking down on this and letting individuals know, she hid this evidence. And as a result, people went to jail for this shit. People went to jail because this person altered evidence and framed people. And she knew this and didn't do anything about it. Now this begs the question. How many black people and how many Latinos went to jail and were falsely sent to jail when Kamala Harris knew about this shit?
What's your reaction to Kamala Harris getting the nod?
Well, I've spent most of the night going through her record as a prosecutor because, you know, that's my greatest love and probably the thing I know the best of. And I have to tell you, she's one of the worst prosecutors I've ever seen. Her record is virtually schizophrenic. You could take half of her record and say she was very, very tough, too tough. 1,500 people in jail for marijuana, small little amounts of marijuana. 1,500 people in jail for marijuana, small little amounts of marijuana. Cases, I mean, I spent 16 years as a prosecutor, did many more important cases than she did. I never prosecuted a use marijuana case. She had 1,500 of them in jail. She helped produce the population that Donald Trump had to save with the prison reform. Oh, and by the way, her boss is the one who authored it. So this is really strange, Maria. He authors a bill that provides for mass incarceration of mostly blacks for minor crimes and disproportionately for the crimes they commit, not that whites commit. She takes advantage of it and boasts about it, and they're running as the progressive candidate. He authors a bill that provides for mass incarceration of mostly blacks for minor crimes and disproportionately for the crimes they commit, not that whites commit. She takes advantage of it and boasts about it, and they're running as the progressive candidate. On the other hand, if you look at her cases against judges, people with political influence, how about a case of a guy she let go and the guy committed murder a short while later? You got one of the most irresponsible, set them loose prosecutors like the ones we have that Soros is electing all over the country now. So she's everything to everybody. She's about as pandering as he is. She's changed her position so many times it's impossible to track it without a scorecard. And it's not unlike her boss, who used to be anti-abortion all his life. He was a Catholic. He was anti-abortion. And, you know, 2 months ago he changed completely. She's a co-author.
So you're saying no conviction, no principles.
With AOC. None. Zero. No, she had a lot of convictions. A lot of them were overturned, and she's also been accused of prosecutorial misconduct in withholding significant evidence of innocence, including for a man who was on death row. She's also been accused of prosecutorial misconduct in withholding significant evidence of innocence, including for a man who was on death row. At the same time, she's suspected of being involved in killing influential investigations and prosecutions for people who had political influence on her. At the same time, she's suspected of being involved in killing influential investigations and prosecutions for people who had political influence on her.
And lastly, if she's hiding and obstructing justice, shouldn't she have been arrested for this? Black people can get arrested for jaywalking, and you're telling me that this woman can hide and obstruct justice and not go to jail for it? See, this is what I'm talking about. These politicians are above the law. They can pretty much do whatever the fuck they want to do, fuck over your life, frame you, lie about it, and then don't go to jail for the shit that they do. And y'all out here voting for them. Y'all out here voting for these people who put you in the chains that you are in today.
I want to bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system that is disproportionately negatively impacting black and brown people all across this country today. Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Thank you, Congresswoman.
But I digress. Let's move on. This article is appropriately titled, Author Claims Harris Deep Sixth Release of Documents IDing Clergy Accused of Sex Abuse as City DA. Oh man, this is going to get dark. And this was written by Charles Kreitz from Fox News. Begin quote, presumptive Democratic Vice President nominee Kamala Harris handling of cases involving alleged child sex abuse by Catholic priests while she was San Francisco's district attorney should receive more scrutiny, investigative journalist and author Peter Schweitzer told Tucker Carlson's Tonight, Wednesday. Schweitzer told host Tucker Carlson that when Harris took office in 2004, her predecessor, Democratic Terrence Helenian, left her with hundreds of pages of internal Catholic Church documents that included names of 40 accused clergy. Helenian was using those documents to build criminal cases, and he was also planning to release them after redacting the names of victims, he said. Kamala Harris actually deep-sixed those documents, and those documents disappeared, much to the chagrin of victims' groups. So it's a massive cover-up, and a lot of the people that financed her campaign to beat Helenian were law firms and lawyers and people connected to the church's hierarchy who did not want those documents to come out. So as you all just heard, Kamala Harris hid evidence once again to protect pedophiles in the Catholic Church. When the Catholic Church was being investigated and was getting ready to go down for touching little boys, this rat hid evidence in order to protect child abusers. I will reiterate one more time for the people in the back. A prosecutor was building a case against pedophiles in the Catholic Church, and when Kamala Harris came into office and took over, the prosecutor gave all of this information that he had about these pedophiles in the church to Kamala Harris. And instead of doing the right thing, she took those documents and got rid of them. Now, if this isn't the devil reincarnated, I don't know who is. This is seriously messed up. Now, I have a serious question for all of the people at home. Why the hell would she do that? What reason would she have to hide this information? Unless she's a fucking pedophile herself. And for the people at home who think I'm making this up, let's just play the clip on Tucker Carlson's show so that way you can hear it from the gentleman's mouth. And then you can Google it for yourself to see what type of person Kamala Harris is.
Peter Schweitzer is author of the book Profiles in Corruption. He joins us for a report.
Peter, great to see you. How did she do?
Not well at all, particularly on very sensitive, explosive cases, including child sexual abuse. Tucker, from 2004 to 2011, she was San Francisco Attorney General. She did not prosecute a single case of sexual abuse involving Catholic Church priests. She did not prosecute a single case of sexual abuse involving Catholic Church priests. To put that in context, of the 50 largest cities in America, all 50 of them prosecuted at least one case during that time period, except for Kamala Harris. And in addition to that, she inherited from her predecessor, Terrence Hallinan, hundreds of pages of internal Catholic documents that included the names of 40 current or recent priests who had been charged by parishioners with molestation. Hallinan was using those documents to build criminal cases, and he was also planning to release them after redacting the names of victims. Kamala Harris actually deep-sixed that document and froze those documents, and those documents disappeared, much to the chagrin of victims groups. So it's a massive cover-up, and a lot of the people that financed her campaign to beat Hallinan were law firms and lawyers and people connected to the church hierarchy who did not want that those documents to come out. And a lot of the people that financed her campaign to beat Hallinan were law firms and lawyers and people connected to the church hierarchy who did not want that those documents to come out.
And y'all out here voting for this motherfucker. Y'all out here voting for Kamala Harris and Biden. And these motherfuckers out here protecting pedophiles. They're protecting pedophiles and then turning around and locking black people up for smoking weed and selling weed so that way they can feed their families. Now let's move on to Kamala Harris's attack on truancy.
And I believe a child going without an education is tantamount to a crime. So I decided I was going to start prosecuting parents for truancy. Prosecuting parents for truancy. Prosecuting parents for truancy. Well, this was a little controversial in San Francisco.
Pause. So as you all just heard right here, Kamala Harris was arresting people or parents who didn't send their kids to school. But here's the crazy thing about this whole ordeal. Let's say a parent did send their kid to school, but the kid decided to ditch on his own volition. How is that the parent's fault? You're telling me that the parent is gonna go to jail because the kid decided to skip school? What if you're a parent and you're broke and you don't have reliable transportation and you're struggling to get your kid to school every day and your kid misses school that day? Are you gonna lock up the poor parent who couldn't get their kid to school that day because they're broke? There's a lot of single mothers out here who legitimately are doing the best that they can, but they may have to miss a day or two in school or have their kids miss a day or two in school because situations are such. Are you gonna lock them up and put them in prison because of circumstances? You guys see what I'm talking about? These fucking people are out of their mind. And again, y'all out here voting for them. And listen to this devil. She's laughing about it. She's the only person in the room laughing. And y'all out here calling Trump a nut? Trump ain't hiding evidence. Trump ain't protecting pedophiles. Trump ain't pretending to smoke weed in order to garner the black vote. Trump ain't pretending to listen to Cardi B in order to sound cool to black people. Look, at this particular point in time, I've said everything I needed to say about the Democratic Party and the Republican Party. If you people want to go out there and vote for a new oppressor to dictate, control you, to determine what your life is going to be in the future, go right ahead. But I'm not going to do it. I'm definitely not going to do it. And again, I'm going to say what I said before. Maybe it's because I'm an extraterrestrial and I'm not from your planet. Or maybe it's just because I have enough common fucking sense to realize that I don't need another European oppressor to control what I think, believe, or feel. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what's really going on here. Maybe y'all do. Maybe that's why humans are so fucked up. It's because they need somebody to control them. But I know I don't. So with that being said, I'm going to close out here. I love all of you guys. Peace.